Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. Om Tat Sat. We are looking at Padesa Undiyar. We saw the introduction, we introduced the concept of the functional definition of God. Because when we see that there is a divine intervention in the lives of those rishis in the Tarukavanam in the form of an incarnation of Lord Shiva, who wakes them up, who shakes up their stuck up, opinionated intellect, shakes them out of that to the possibility of something that is beyond the karma and result of karma, something that is not affected by the karma and result of karma, by the laws of karma, something that is the cause and ultimate for the whole universe. Because the lesson happens within this dream of relative life, the creation, it has to happen, the message has to be conveyed using the limitations of this terrestrial life. So God has to come with a form and then demonstrate a kind of a magic that shows that all their sorcery, all their mantra prayogas and all their magic is not giving. All their karmas, the Vedic karmas they do for destroying this intruder, they're becoming powerless. They are all supposed to work, but somehow they are not working, and he seems to be above all of them. Then they start saying, oh, this must be on. Then they start waking up to this possibility of Ishvara. Now, there is one more point. Before we go into the actual text, there is one more point. You may ask, see, all these rishis are learned people, well read in the Vedas, right? We also know from the Veda that, there is a shloka, Yo Vedadav Swara Prokta Vedante Cha Pratishtitaha. So that which is worshipped and declared in the Veda, in the beginning, and in the end portion of the Veda, as a firm conclusion and a synthesis of the essence of this principle is explained and established. The nature of the supreme being is established. Tasya prakritilīnasya aparasya maheshwaraha. Right? So this Maheshwara or the Supreme Lord is talked about in the Karmakanda portion also, in the ritualistic portion also. For example, we see in Taittiriya Upanishad, and also we see in the normal Samhita portions of the Vedas also, there are statements about Brahmana portion of the Vedas also, there are statements about Ishvara's nature and all that. So the rishis definitely have this knowledge of Ishvara as one who is not affected by anything. And there are also the Vedanta portions which are treated as an accessory to the ritual. So the Mimamsakas are not ignorant in Vedanta. They are ignorant in the correct understanding of Vedanta. So they use this Vedanta's statements like a ritualistic accessory to enhance the benefit of the ritual. For example, when the Brahmins do this Trikala Sandhya Vandanam, we have something called as a Sandhya Vandanam. It's one of the compulsory self-purificatory religious commitments of every day. For a person who is initiated into that sacred thread and Gayatri, in that, after offering 3 hands of water with the Gayatri mantra to the sun, we say, this sun is Brahma. Brahma means the Supreme Being. That Supreme Being am I. We contemplate on that statement. And after that, we start offering oblations in like called Tarpanam. We start offering the water, chanting the various names of Adityam Tarpayami, Somam Tarpayami, and etc. and all that. But before that, we say, Asavadityo Brahmaivahamasmi, and we have to contemplate on that. Now, that is like a Mahavakya. But at the level of ritual, you cannot expect a person to be enlightened. Once you have understood the meaning of that, there is no more ritual to be done. There is nothing to offer. But you are the Brahman. It's over. But in this context, what happens is it gives the one who meditates upon it, one who meditates upon the oneness of one who brings up the bhava or the feeling of oneness between oneself and the Supreme Being. For that person, there is a certain expansive consciousness inside which has an effect on the prana, and it makes the rituals, it makes the offerings more powerful. So that is the explanation the ritualistic people give. So the rishis are all aware of it. But somehow, even when the truth is in plain sight in front of us, we will not be able to see that if we are mentally blocked with something. They are highly result oriented, highly successful people, totally hot headed, they're full of head weight, thinking that they can get whatever they want, they can get it done. They have all the powers and they know all the sorcery, and they have all the technology, material technology, spiritual technology, they have everything in their hands. Whatever they want, they can get it done. And they have always approached the Veda only as a tool for getting something done. Now, this is an attitude in which they are stuck. So, it took some time for them to wake up to the other possibility of Ishvara who is not affected by anything. That by knowing which one becomes free from the ocean of sorrow. There is a possibility of eternal happiness. All those things, even though they have studied in the Veda as Avantara Vakya, indirect statement is such. So we have two kinds of statements about the Supreme Being. Avantara Vakya, indicative, indirect statements that, tells you, hey, you are, there is a place where there is a huge statue. It is called the Statue of Liberty, and also, it's like that. They say, there is the Supreme Brahman, the one who is the cause of everything, the one from which everything came. That Supreme Brahman, the one who knows that will attain the highest, and all that. Brahma Vidapnoti Param. Like that, there are indicative statements. They have listened to that. But then there are other statements called Mahavakya, which make you realize the truth of the Supreme Being as your own truth. Tattvamasi and all that. And Ayamatma Brahma. All these are called Mahavakya. So even though the person has not realized, because of the study of the Veda, these rishis are aware of that. But somehow they did not wake up to that possibility. They did not think about that Supreme Being as something possible, because they were completely stuck in their ways. When we are very stuck in our ways, even the knowledge that we have inside us will not function, will not get activated at the right time. For the right knowledge to get activated at the right time, for the right context, when we are working towards the purpose, so that is possible only when we are tuned to the right purpose. That is why Purushartha Nischaya is very important. Being very clear about what is worth pursuing, that clarity is very important. That is why only when the mind is free from the obsession of result-oriented approach to life, result-oriented approach to thinking, only when we stop being a go-getter and then start thinking about the fundamentals, the fundamental questions, when they start becoming important, only then we will even start analyzing things in a perspective that is useful for liberation. That is exactly what the story of Lord Shiva coming in the Tarukavanam and talking to the rishis, this is what the story conveys to us. You can be a genius, you can be a master, still if you are stuck in your ways and you are very result oriented and you're always focused on getting things done through external means, and you're always stuck with time bound results and effort, when you are stuck in the realm of effort, purva karmattal undi para pokkarai poyinar undi para, so if you are stuck in the realm of efforts, you lose track of your progress, you lose track of, and you lose sight of a worthy goal, which is the supreme well-being, called the eternal life, or the eternity, or moksha, atma jnana. You lose sight of that possibility, because you're very busy in that. So what happened is, the Lord, out of his supreme compassion, Bhagavan came and put a break and made them feel helpless. And because they were already living a very austere life and a very disciplined life, as described with the Veda, there was already some sattva in their head. Once their ego came down a little bit, immediately the sattva kicked in. The chitta sadshuddhi, whatever they had because of the Vedic way of life, it kicked in, and they somehow started thinking in the right direction. They did not keep pushing up to the point of their destruction, but they started thinking in the right direction and went and surrendered to this great being in front of them, Lord Shiva, as the begging yogi, Bhikshandi, it's called. They went and surrendered to him, and they begged him for his grace and forgiveness, and asked him to teach them. And then the Lord's compassion rose, and then he started teaching them. And then starts the part where the Lord teaches the rishis. The first shloka starts, Karmam payantaral kartanade aanayal karmam kadavulo undipara karmam jadamadal undipara. The actions, the karmas, give the result because of the command of the Lord. Are the karma and the result of karma, the realm of karma, is it the ultimate principle? No. Because the law of karma is inert. It requires an intelligent principle to activate it. Karmam kadavulo undi para. Why karma cannot be the ultimate principle? Because karmam jadamadal undi para. Because karma is jada. Jada means lifeless. It is not a conscious principle. It is not a self-conscious principle. It is not an intelligent principle. It is only a possibility. A clay cannot become a pot by itself. A clay needs to be shaped into a pot by the potter. It needs an intelligent cause. For any outcome to happen, it needs a material cause and an intelligent cause and the required knowledge framework, through which the functional knowledge through which the material cause is acted upon by the intelligent cause according to a knowledge framework to give the result. Right? This is normal common sense. We all know. Now, the command of the Lord, this is something to be understood correctly. Karturajnaya prapyate phalam. Karturajnaya. Kartarada anayal. By the command of the Creator. It's a way of saying. We have to understand it in the right perspective. It is not some, I have told this in the previous classes also. Here it does not mean one Mr. God, all powerful bully God, is sitting up there in heaven looking at a lot of screens, like you have this war room, like they show in the movies. Like that, he has this karma phala room where there are these hundred and thousands and millions of monitors, And Lord being a great being, he has these 1,000 eyes and 1,000 arms. There are descriptions like that. Supreme being with his 1,000 names, Sahasraksha, Sahasrapad, is there in the Vedas. You know, Veda, Hame, Purusham Mahantam, Adityavarnam, Tamasatparastad, like that. There are a lot of descriptions, in that Sahasra Sirsha Purusha, Sahasraksha, Sahasrapad, the supreme, the great Purusha, the supreme being, the Lord, is of 1,000 heads, thousands of eyes and thousands feet, like that. Which means what? It's a poetic way of telling that he lives through all that lives. It's a way of telling that. So we can take that literally and try to create a computer graphics of a supreme being sitting up there in heaven, like one absolutely abominable alien creature, uh, and is looking at all the karma monitors. Oh, this person did this charity today. So, in 1 year from now, he is going to go hungry in that place, and I need to assign such and such person living there to come and give him a free food. Okay, he clicks that button, option one, option two. So, and then this person gets the result of his good karma. Oh, this person is doing some, is doing some mischief, instant bad karma, like how we see in the reels and YouTube shorts, instant bad karma. Somebody uh, tries to irritate one cow, and then the cow gives him a very good kick. Instant bad karma, like that. So, oh, this should be instant result for this karma. It must be delayed result. Oh, this guy's good action should bear fruit only in the next life. So this person is constantly asking, I have been so good all my life. I did all the right things. I did followed all the rules. Why am I still suffering? Why only good people are suffering? All the bad politicians and rowdies, everybody is having a nice life. Why only the good people are finding it very difficult? Why? So in all these cases, God has decided, okay, all his good act, this life he is going to die like hopelessly, live hopelessly, and die a terrible death in spite of all the good deeds. And all his good deeds are going to give him a great next life after his death. In the next life only, he will, reap the rewards of his good actions. So he's choosing that button. It's not like that. It is not at all like that. God command means it is not some being sitting there and deciding out of its whims and fancy who is going to get what. That is not what is meant here. By the command of God means there are these laws of karma. Because of the laws of karma being active, only when the laws of the karma are active, an action will lead to its result. Now, the result of action has to be assigned to the same person. It is not some random action. I throw a stone, it goes up and comes down. That is one aspect of it. But we are talking about what is called as apurva, an action. Apart from the visible result, it also creates an invisible force that resonates through the universe and becomes part of the information that is essential for the future course of events. It becomes one of the small variables that directs the future course of events. That is why this apurva follows, it is somehow attached to this individual soul. It's a way of saying soul means here jiva. This apurva or the unseen result of action is given an address linked to this jiva. Like you have an address in the storage, like that. It is somehow linked to this. There is a QR code in the jiva connected to the QR code in that result of action. There is a match. Now that connection with the result of the unseen result of action to the jiva or the individual soul is sustained by the kartritva bhoktritva buddhi, means the idea of the individual that I am the doer and I am the enjoyer of the results. I am the doer of the action and I am the enjoyer of the results. That is how innumerable karmas from past lives are connected to an individual. And this various karmas storage is in three levels: Sanchita karma, Prarabdha karma, Agamya karma. There are three zones. Prarabdha karma is that packet that is responsible for the various events that happen outside our control. All the events that happen by themselves, whether we try for them or not, the things that happen to us, the environment that we meet, all the major things that determine the course of our current life are coming under this Prarabdha karma packet. Now, based on how I face this Prarabdha karma, the next folder will open. The other folder in the back is Agamya karma. From Agamya karma folder, more files will come, which will decide my further lives. Sanchita karma is like in my hard drive, all the junk from all the past lives. Like when you shift from one phone to another phone or one device to another device, a laptop, all the things you keep copying, it's there in your backup. Sometimes it is there in an archive. So this Sanchita karma is like your archive, karma archive. Now, at the time of death, depending on my level of consciousness, everything goes into one kind of a soup. And like a lottery, it goes through this. There is this rotational lottery. That is, they put a lot of balls in one. I saw one lottery show long ago. They put a lot of balls with numbers in one kind of a sphere, and then the sphere, this ball like thing, this huge vessel, transparent bottle like thing is shaken a lot of times, and then finally one ball comes out through the bottom. Like that, at the time of death, the whole junk will come up and cloud your RAM. And then depending upon your shraddha, depending upon the power of the good deeds that you have done and the punya palam, the result of all the punyas, and depending on which things you are holding on to at that moment, based on that, a certain packet of karma will come out and push the soul towards the next life. It is not linear. Just because I die as a Brahmin in this life, it does not mean I will take birth as a better Brahmin in next life, or even as a human. Not necessary. I could take birth as a worm. I could take birth as a mosquito. I could take birth as some tiger or lion. God knows, or some street dog. Nobody knows. But there are these spiritual practices which help you, which train you to program that moment of death, where I am logging on only to my good karmas and things like that. And there is a huge discussion about that in Bhagavad Gita, in Brahma Sutras, and in various scriptures. There is a discussion about that. Now, all this is within the realm of action, within the realm of doership. So, this assigning of the result of action to the one who committed that action requires two aspects. One is the intelligent principle of the doer, the one who did the action, to have the attitude that I am the doer, I am the individual, and I am the one, I want the result, desire for the result. That keep the individual bound to that. And because of this, and is bound to this process, and because the entire universe and the laws of the universe and everything that is required for delivering the result from out there to this individual is being sustained by the Supreme Lord, by the Supreme Being, in which the whole universe and all its laws and all its activities are sustained. All the principles, all the five elements, everything is sustained in that Supreme Lord. All the patterns are sustained by the Supreme Intelligence. So as long as the Supreme Intelligence is keeping it all together, I will keep getting the results of my action according to the laws of karma as decided by the Supreme Being, according to the era and according to the time. So it is a very multi-level kind of a mystic reality. You cannot exactly understand how it goes, but the broad principle is, without that Supreme Being sustaining with this divine will, this universal rhythms of life and the laws of karma and everything, and the dharma chakra, the wheel of dharma being sustained by the supreme being, without that presence of that supreme intelligence, the karmas will not take effect. That is why when the universe finally dissolves back during the night of the Brahma, we say, no, during the night of the creator, when everything is withdrawn back, it's called the great dissolution, Mahapralaya. During the time, there is nothing is happening. So all the individual souls are still waiting to enjoy the results of their action. So only when the universe is projected and sustained, you can, for example, today in my dream, I was about to drink a cup of hot chocolate. But when I was about to put it in my mouth, I woke up. The dream is gone. So next time, if I want to have that cup of chocolate under the same conditions, next time when I go into the dream, I might suddenly go into a room where the cup of hot chocolate is waiting for. I might suddenly see myself sitting in a chair with a cup of hot chocolate, and it might connect to my previous dream, and I may continue. No, I'm just telling it for fun sake. So unless the dream world is sustained by my mind, a dream experience is not possible, right? For the character in the dream. In the same way, as long as this universe is not sustained by the supreme being, the results of karma cannot be enjoyed by the individual. So it is in this sense, as the sustainer and the giver of the result of action. Should I present it? Okay. There is some noise. Somebody wants to tell me something? May I continue? Okay. So unless the supreme intelligence is present to make the laws of karma and everything work, one cannot get the results of action. It is not simply because of me doing something or simply because an action happened, the result has to happen. It is not like that. Right? And there are things much beyond my control. So that is all in the hands of Ishvara. So the Supreme, I will never know all the variables that are controlling the result of action. Karmanyevadhikaraste mapaleshu kadachana. It comes in Bhagavad Gita. Your capacity, adhikaraha means your qualification, is only to perform an action with good decision making and with good discretion, with good intelligence, with good intention. You do your action, but you have absolutely no control over the result. You don't have the capacity or the qualification to decide or control the result of action, because there are infinite number of variables dealing with it. So that I call as God. So if I get the result of my action, somehow I say, by divine grace, by God's grace, it happened. Because we see there are people who do the same things, they don't get the result. There are people who do less than me, they get more result. Sometimes I myself, at one point of time, for the same action I get more result, for the same action I get some less result in some other point of time. So we see that in many situations, as the situation becomes more and more complex, as more and more variables start getting involved, I see how much more the result is out of my control, right? So when I understand this, there are two things that are happening. One, I understand I cannot control the results, so I find a healthy attitude towards my relationship with the results of my action, my relationship with my action and the result of these actions. One, and I realize the limitation and I realize the possibility of something that is beyond the action and result of action, and I start working. I become disenchanted with the limitation of this world of action and result of action. I get disenchanted with this realm of struggle and in this realm of karma all the time. All the time I have to struggle and get something. Even if I get something, it is not going to be there. So I suddenly wake up to this life of struggle, the pointlessness of this whole rut. No, why am I in this karmic rut, life after life? And then I start desiring something beyond, something that is not affected by this, something that is worth striving for, something that is eternal. I want to solve this problem for good. And then I start talking about the path to realize the Brahman. Right? So, karmam payantaral kartanad anayal. The result of action is because of the command of the Lord, understood in this perspective that I told you now. Because of that, is karma, the law of karma or action, is action the ultimate? No, karmam kadavulo undi para, no. Karmam jadama, because action is inert. It is a mechanical principle. It cannot deliver you. It is limited. Action is limited. Action is not intelligent. It is only empowered by the intelligent. And the intelligent principle that is activating the cycle of action and result, that intelligent principle is not affected by the action and result of action. Right? Then comes the next verse, which we will see in the next class. So he is waking them up. So what then what to do? That we will see in the next class. Before we go to that, before we finish the class, I would like to answer a question that was left unanswered in the last class. So one student asked, why, if you say the within the realm of ignorance, there is waking state and dream state, both are ignorance, then why the waking state feels more real than the dream state? That's a very good question. Now, you are telling that dream state is not real only from the waking state. When I ask you inside the dream, imagine how you felt inside the dream. Inside the dream felt very real. That's exactly why a tiger chasing you in the dream scares you in the dream and it wakes you up. Right? So it was very real. You are not very conscious about, oh, this is a dream. Then they talk about lucid dreaming. So in lucid dreaming, they train the attitude and then they carry that attitude into the dream. With some training, they do that. Similarly, with some training of Vedanta, you can also be free in the waking state and realize the illusion of this waking state. Right? So this waking state, why does it feel real? The technical reason is because the buddhi and the prana are more connected in the waking state. Your vitality, the vital principle is more connected to your buddhi or your conscious will in the waking state. So because of that, the relationship between the I and the mind, the principle of I and mind and the ego principle, which is resting on the buddhi function. Because of that and the involvement, if you see it in the brain, the prefrontal cortex and all, they say. So because of the involvement of that, because of the involvement of the conscious identity and the power of personal will connected to this sensory experience and resulting in more command over your vitality, vital principle called prana, because of that, the impact on the sense of I am. So what do you call as feeling real? When something feels real means what? Its impact on your sense of I is more. And it is more consistent. The impact is more and the consistency is more. The consistency is more because you are able to connect the present with the past and the past with the future. And you have control over the prana where you are able to command your responses in a more conscious way. While in the dream, you are carried totally by the power of imprints. For example, in the waking state, let us say you are stoned or you are drunk or something. a person is drunk or stoned under the influence of some hallucinogen or a drug, it's waking state. The person is in waking state, but the impact of the events on that person is not much. It's not the same as when the person is fully conscious and fully functional and fully alert without the influence of any drugs and all that. When compared to that waking state, a drugged waking state is feels less real, because once the effect of the drug is gone, when the person comes out of it, feels like it was all a dream. Yeah? When you are not very conscious and carried away by the power of your imprints, or what we call as vasanas, more than the power of your buddhi. Whenever the power of vasanas is more than the power of your buddhi, the sequence of events will not will not feel as real as it would feel when the buddhi is more involved. It's like this: I am in a room, my background subconscious mind picks up all the details. Or let's say I go to a mall, a shopping mall. I just walk through a corridor. My mind picks up all kinds of things. They put you in hypnosis. They can derive all kinds of information from your head that you never realized you knew. But when you finish the walk and come out, I ask you, what did you see? You will not say everything. You will only say about those things that made an impact on you. So those things that make an impact on you feel more real than those things that don't make an impact on you. Which means what? All those things that you processed with your buddhi and connect to the sense of I and mine. It is my experience. When you put that stamp of ahankara or the ego on something, with an involvement of the intellect, the power of will, and that sense of being an experiencer, that individuality, when that stamp of that comes on something, it feels more real. Whichever involves that stamp of individuality in it, the ego in it, that feels more real than in which something in which there is no conscious imprint or a willful imprint of individuality. This is the key point. This principle is more active. This principle of ego, individuality, buddhi, and the power of will is more alive and active in the waking state than in the dream state. And when this principle is made very weak because of drugs or something else or emotions or whatever, even the waking state will pass away like a dream state. And once you come back to normalcy, you will feel all that was like a dream. So less real, more real means what? More illusion and less illusion. It basically means more avail. Less real and more real is basically less ego, more vasanas, more ego and more control over vasanas. That's what distinguishes the impact of the sense of reality between dream and waking state. So this is the basic technical reason. The actual reason why it is feeling like that. And both waking and dream state are based on the ignorance out of which this individuality arises, which is the great sleep. Basically, the sleep is the basis for both waking and dream state. In the sleep, what happens? The avidya alone is there. There is no vikshepa. So there are two aspects to the power of Maya. When we say this waking, and there is another way in which I am explaining the same thing. In the power of Maya, or this illusion, the illusory power in the field of consciousness, which is inherent in the power of consciousness, has two aspects to it: avarana and vikshepa. Okay, avarana means the veiling power that covers up the reality. Vikshepa means the projecting power, or the one it creates multiplicity. In deep sleep, only avarana is working. In deep sleep, you don't know anything. After waking up, I ask you, what did you see in your sleep? I'm not talking about the dream. You slept. There is no dream, dreamless sleep, and you wake up. Say sleep. I slept so well. I did not know anything. Absolutely nothing. So there is some kind of a witnessing imprint of that witnessing consciousness, which is witnessing the not knowing. Witnessing the not knowing, it's very simple. I ask you, what is 2 plus 2 now? 2 plus 2, 4. Do you know what is 2 plus 2? Yes, 4. I know the result of 2 plus 2 is 4. Right. You are witnessing the knowledge I know. I am asking you, what is the cube root of 3844? You say, I don't know. You are witnessing, I don't know. You are the witness to knowing and not knowing. Right? So, similarly, remove all theoretical, like a thought experiment. Close your eyes, you are not seeing anything. Now imagine, project the same thing, you are not hearing anything. What they call a sensory deprivation, and then you are awake, and then you feel sleepy. Sometimes, you go to sleep, come back, doze off. They say, whenever you are dozing off, think about it. You doze off, come back, doze off, come back. So what during dozing off, what do you go into? And when you come back, where are you coming out of? What are you coming out of? What are you going into? And from what are you coming out of? Keep this question. It's like a Zen koan, I'm giving you a Zen koan to work with in this entire week. When I go to sleep, I am going where? When I say I have woken up, what have I woken up from? And who am I? Work with this question. You can answer it yourself. And if you really go into this contemplation, you will realize that you are something other than the waking, dream, and sleep states. You are none of these three. And you will understand there is some kind of a veil, a covering, upon which this waking state and the dream state, all of these states that you experience are all based on a certain kind of a sleep that is even beyond, more fundamental to sleep. The sleep that we experience is happening on a deeper level of a veil or a kind of a covering of non-knowing. There is a non-knowing that is much more fundamental than the non-knowing of sleep. And that is the power of avidya. That is called avarana shakti. So all our three states are based on that. That is the primordial sleep of not knowing oneself. And that is what is being removed by the teaching of Vedanta. So from that understanding, we say that waking state and dream both are illusion, because both are based on ignorance. There are various layers of projections that are based on ignorance. Vikshepa is projection. I don't know. Then I imagine and project. I am wearing my specs. I forgot I am wearing my specs and I start looking for my specs everywhere. Spectacles, Now, I am wearing my spectacles. This knowledge is covered, which makes me think I lost my spectacles. Now, in that moment, that covering up of the knowledge is ignorance. Avarana. I am wearing the spectacles is the fact. Somehow, this fact is covered, and I come to a conclusion. I have placed my spectacles up. I am not having my spectacles. Right? From there comes, oh, I must have kept my spectacles here. I must have kept my spectacles there, and all kinds of imaginations based on this wrong knowledge. That is vikshepa. It happens in every situation of ignorance. In every situation of ignorance, there is non-knowing, and then there is wrong knowing. And projection based on non-knowing, you project all the things that are not there. So this projection happens in dream in one way, in waking state in another way. And in waking state, we say it is more connected to for the one who is not able to really have enough vairagya, we say the waking state is based on the God's creation, while the dream state is based on your own creation. That is why waking state is more consistent and dream state is less consistent. But for a more qualified aspirant, this explanation also will not cut it. We go a little bit deeper to the explanation I gave first. It is because of the imprint of the I am the I and mine in every experience, one experience becomes real or unreal. So you take whichever explanation you want, whichever fits your bill better. Why the waking state and dream state are feeling different. Okay. Did I answer your question? Whoever asked. And you have any other sub question for this question? Somehow this chat is not working. I don't know why.
I replied in the chat saying yes, thank you. It was answered. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. I answered. Good, good. Okay. Any other questions? All right. So the next stanza in Upadesha Undiyar is Kartana Kakum Nishkamya Karmam Karite Tirthi Akdundi Para Kadivali Kanbikum Undi Para. Karmam Payantaral Kartana Dhaniyal Karmam Kadavulo Undi Para Karmam Jadamadal Undi Para. So okay, so what to do? How to become ready for the higher possibility? So how then can I be without karma? Is it possible to be without action at all? Then how do I approach this various commitments, duties, and all that? How do I approach that? Then that is what is being talked about in the next stanza, which we will see more elaborately in the next class. I will introduce that stanza, this concept, and then we will finish the class. Kartanikka Akkum means surrendering to the creator. Nishkamya karmam, actions done without personal motive and done purely as an offering to the Supreme Being will clear up your attitude, will clear up your understanding, will loosen the grip, the egoistic grip you have over life. And when it loosens up, Samadhir Bhavanartha Klesha Tanukaranarthascha, it says in Yoga Sutra. When the grip, egoistic grip you have over life situations loosens up, then when you stop being a controlled freak, then Karuttai Tirthi. This Karuttai Tirthi means clearing up your attitude, opening up your mind. What will happen? It will show you the path to freedom. Gadi Vadi Kanbikkum Divara. It will show you what is the right way to freedom. What is the right way to become free from this cycle of birth and death, from this cycle of karma and result of karma? What is the way out of this seemingly beginningless life of struggle? What is the way out of these cycles of limitation? What is the way to the eternal? That your mind will open up to that possibility and it will show you how it is possible for you. Gadi Vadi Kana. So it is talking about this entire process of Chitta Shuddhi. In one stanza, he finishes the whole thing. And then as I am in the process of performing my duties as an act of worship and all that, what else I can do in order to make myself purer? What are the various actions that are there? So here he is talking about spiritual action. There is not much discussion about, because it is already those people are qualified masters. It is not going into the everyday issues. He's talking about various spiritual practices and which one is more superior to the other, and how the attention can go from the gross to the subtle, and what is more worthwhile of pursuing, and how the various approaches of yoga come together to purify a person and make that person ready for contemplation on the truth of the self. So that will be the sequence of the stanzas starting from this. This stanza that we saw now, we will see in a more elaborate manner in the coming class. What is surrendering or offering an action to God? What are the various kind of actions? And how do we offer? And what are the various levels of offering? You cannot surrender suddenly completely. Is there partial surrender? Are there levels of progress in the surrender? Are there levels of progress in the nishkamya karma? Means action without personal motive. Are there levels of progress in that? All that we will see in detail in the coming class. So, with that, I will conclude this session. And please contemplate on that and remember the homework I gave you. What am I going into when you go to sleep, and what am I coming out of when you wake up from sleep? This contemplation you have to do. I have left you with a koan to contemplate for the next 1 week. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vadishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tatsate. Thank you.